Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making cheese like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, yeah, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in. Okay. Drop a song and pop up on your phone like I was YouTube. Connected to the fans without a hand, I did it Bluetooth. The only time I come up short is when they watching YouTube. Spinning with the deal, no wonder why my screws loose. Taking off and I can't stop, I beat them all by landslide. Houdini, I popped out of that box even with hands tied. Big dog like Sandlot, but it's real life, no fantasize. Count money a damn lot, my hands clean, no sanitize. Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote. Follow everything I post, never trip about a clone. Cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making cheese like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, hey, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in.
If you don't like me, better close your eyes, I'm about to shine. Or take a picture when you see me, cause I doubt you find another like me. Yeah, I'm one of one, no other son. The way I'm blazing ass, I like the earth just got another sun. I did not even anti-social. Are you so sure? Cause I only be hanging with goats, so they never told you I'm a soldier. And you ain't got nothing on me. I be killing and grilling the rappers. I'm writing a cookbook for the homies. Don't hold me, I'm dangerous. You don't wanna take this risk, I don't play with kids. No, I am not on Epstein's list. I'm on my grown man team. You know, steady stacking the racks up. I got a hard drive, so if I fall, I'm going back up.
Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, okay, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in. Okay.
Yo, 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 welcome to Minted. My name is Pav. You're joined with my co-host today, Franklin. We are Minted. We're going to be joined with some special guests today. We've got Colby from Open Ticketing, Sammy from DJ and Distillery, Mila from NFT UK, Ben from Rug Radio, Diego and Geordie discussing the future of Web3 events. If you haven't already, drop us a GM in the bottom right-hand corner. Share the space. Franklin, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm so excited for this. Honestly, it's been planning for a little bit of time. Got some amazing stage ready today as well. So yeah, so ready. Some people we've not spoke to in a little while. Well, I speak to some of them every day, but yeah, others that we've not spoke to in quite some time. Diego, a guest really early on as well as Mila. We got Ben, and obviously our sponsors Open as well. So big shout out to everyone joining us. We appreciate everyone. It's Dave, big announcements and big events, man.
Bro, do you know how hard it was for me to do this introduction without saying good morning? Because I'm so used to it. It rolls off my tongue because we are here weekday mornings from 9 a.m. BST. But yeah, man, super, super excited. We've got our sponsor for the month as well, Open Ticketing. Let's run their advert and let's get straight into the show.
Let's go. This also says morning, but here we go.
Today's Minted Morning is powered by Open. What if you could participate in the ticketing revolution and earn real-world yield from every ticket sold in the process? You can now with the Open Ticketing ecosystem. Every year, billions of dollars flow to ticketing monopolies at the expense of artists and their fans. Open has built the solution with state-of-the-art on-chain ticketing infrastructure that puts artists, organizers, and fans back in control. The revolution is just beginning. So find more at onopen.xyz.
Yeah, massive shout out to Open, our sponsors who've been with us for the last month. So I'm gonna go straight over to Colby behind the Open. So how are you doing, man? Good afternoon.
Hey. Great to be here. Yeah, doing great, thank you. What an insane lineup tonight. I'm really looking forward to chatting, actually. It's going to be really good. Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks.
Good, man. Yeah, and with that, we've got a giveaway as well on today's space. It is pinned to the top. It also looks like Pav's, Ben's pinned something in front of it, but it's the first pinned tweet. To the top, we've got $200 in Open for the first winner. We got $100 in Open for the second. We got third, $100 in drink, and $100 in Solana from ourselves at Minted. We'll be drawing those at the end of the space. And with that $100 in drink. Sammy, welcome.
Yo,
It's been time.
Motherfuckers,
let's go.
baby. He's back home. Let's fucking go.
Damn.
Back where he belongs. How you doing, man?
Yeah. Hype to be here. I think this must be my first time back. I think since I stepped down. So yeah, I'm hyped, man.
I almost forgot what you sounded like, man. You need to come back more.
I haven't. I wake up with him every morning, speak to him all day long. We're on calls together.
You've been stuck with him the whole time.
whoa! You don't wake up with me.
Yeah, you're meant to like skip over that, Sammy, and not like actually have that bit come out.
Guys, we didn't mean to share what Franklin and Sammy get up to, but I mean that kind of slipped. I mean, great to have you back, man.
Is it actually the first time you've been on
I'd love to be back.
since you stepped down? Obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, we've been doing this space now for I think it's about 18 months. We started. You guys can correct me, but I think it was October or November 2022. We used to be Wake Up Web3. We rebranded. Sammy and Tom were with us from DJ Distillery right from the very beginning. It was myself, Pav, Tom, and Sammy. But obviously, super busy with DJ Distillery, which is what we're going to be getting into today as well in terms of events and what's been going on in Web3 and what's the future of Web3 events. So yeah, it's good to have you back, Sammy. I know we talk every day, but this feels different. It feels like you're back with us now.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm hopefully back. I was going to say for good, but it's not true.
Like always,
I'm really hyped to be here. You guys have.
Sammy, God. He's still on the McDonald's Wi-Fi.
This guy uses public Wi-Fi.
All this time, I'm down to Brighton. Literally moving down to Brighton.
You can't do it if you're gonna have Wi-Fi. Do they just not have good Wi-Fi down there?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting him Starlink or something. Like he needs something. He needs help. Serious help with this internet situation.
Send help to Sammy.
Yeah, send help. But yeah, let's go over to Ben. Obviously today, myself and Pav, some news we've been kind of sandbagging for quite some time and something we've been super excited about. Joining alongside as creators with Rug Radio and obviously Ben as well. Shout out to yourselves for putting it together. Massive appreciation. It's going to really help us boost forward and create more content. So Ben, welcome. Another Brit as well. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you? Good. Nice to see you. Good to see you. Reed, amazing panel here. Mila, nice to see you. Haven't seen you in ages. Hope you're good. Diego, fantastic. Met you in Paris last year. And yeah, no, look, pleased to be here. Absolutely thrilled that you guys have joined the Rug Radio creator stable. I think Quinn is actually also going to join us in like 20 minutes. She's just finishing up a call on Rug Radio side. And yeah, just really stoked to jump into a conversation with you guys and do everything I can to support you. So thanks for having me.
No, I love it. Thanks very much for coming up. And yeah, looking forward to working with yourself and Rug Radio into the future. It's something we've been excited about for quite some time. So yeah, some good things going to be coming, I think. So looking forward to it. And on that, let's go over to Diego, got mentioned there. So let's go over to Diego. Welcome back. Obviously, Diego, way back, Pav.
Yo.
You met, I think, in NFT Paris, was it? And then joined Wake Up Web3 in the day. And now is part of DJ Distillery as well. So I spoke to him a few more times since then as well. But Diego, welcome to the stage. How are you doing?
GM. It's full circle, sir. It's full circle. I'm super stoked. Sammy did remind me when we first spoke. I was like, holy fuck, yeah, dude, I didn't remember that. But, you know, when he opened his mouth, I was like, yes, good, sir. That's it. I love full circle. That's why I love this industry. You know, it's so small. And if you're not a dick, you know, you get around and you get to do stuff with cool people. So stoked to be here.
No, I love that, man. It's great to be working with you as well. You guys have done absolutely amazing things in the space as well in that space of time. So shout out to you guys. And as I mean you guys, I'm going to go to Jordan. How are you doing?
GM, doing very well. Thanks for having us. Stoked to be part of the DJ Distillery Degenerates.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think both of your experiences is going to be something crazy we're going to be exploring into the future. And obviously your knowledge in terms of virtual events as well, I think we'll get onto as we go through the space as well and kind of deep dive a little bit further into that. I think it's a really cool conversation because obviously we've had Token 49 recently. There's a lot of people out there in Dubai at the moment loving it, and we're all sat here FOMOing. So when can we get involved from where we are, right? So yeah, I think
get us some VR headsets and we can be in Dubai without the weather. That'd have been perfect for us, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And last by no means least, but Mila, good afternoon. How are you doing? It's been a long time as well.
Oh, hey guys. Can you hear me well? I have a
Perfectly
new
well.
microphone.
You're good.
So, yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me here. And obviously, I'm grateful that you're running the space. And again, to kind of see your progress since the day one. Always keen to support our friends here in the UK. So
we're few. We are few. We need to club together. That's what it's all about.
That's what we try to do, right? Try to stick together.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, it was because we've been speaking in text as well. Just the importance of discussing Web3 events. I mean, there's been some really, really big events. They're picking up a lot of steam, a lot of excitement over the last couple of, I'd say, like year and a half, really. From a yacht party in on the Thames with NFT UK, and then obviously NFT Paris. A lot's happened this year as well. With all the excitement and with all the buzz that's around them, there's also been some challenges as well, not just weather related in terms of how much are events, how can people always get to them, are they accessible, and what are we actually looking for in events as a community? What are we looking for when we want to network? What's the value of meeting in real life? These are all of the things that we're going to be discussing today and more. If you haven't already, check out our pinned tweet. We're giving away $500. You need to just follow the instructions in there to 4 lucky people.
Bro, you have me dead at weather related. Wildfires, earthquakes, and rain in Dubai. They've had everything.
They've had the full spectrum, right? And we do joke about it, but some of the most important relationships I have in Web3 have been built through meeting in real life. So without a doubt, there's an insane amount of value of meeting in real life. It's just a case of, do the conferences work? Are people going for satellite events? What does it take? And what are we expecting from events moving forward? What are we expecting socially? You guys have got with DJ Distillery Goodwood coming up, really stepping out of the park. What does it actually take to put on a really big event? And we think we've got a really cool panel here of people who can guide us through this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get into it. I mean, on that point, where do you want to kick off? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with the importance of IRL events. I think, I started NFT UK was my first in real life event. And for me, it was invaluable. I did delay. I didn't go to the first couple. I was sort of hesitant, just sort of unclear about what to expect. And then when I did go, I met some really cool people. And the people that I met in those first few events ended up being some of my closest friends in the space, and then led to connections, which allowed me to create powerful relationships and then essentially lead to good business. So I think the first place to start is just on the importance of IRL events and the value added by meeting in person. So Colby, I'd love to go over to you, because if you give us a little bit of a TLDR with what you guys did over in Paris and your involvement in events, bringing people together and being part of the community is what you guys are really focusing on right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the crux of ticketing, right? People want to connect together, and particularly after the pandemic, right? Like the last 4 or 5 years, you've just seen people really just value that physical presence of being able to meet up and put a face to a name. And yeah, no, I mean, it's such a critical piece of the industry. I think both from a newcomer perspective, right? Someone tells you about these magic internet beans, and then you see all of these different PFPs, and it's a lot to actually wrap your head around. And actually being able to see that there are sane people behind this, and there's some great ethos that wraps around the space. That I think that's one of the beautiful parts of physical events. You hear all kinds of different cultures, you hear all kinds of different parts of the industry, right? We've now got to a point where the industry is quite actual. There's quite a breadth to it, whether it's DeFi or NFTs or everything in between. There's lots of different discussions you can have. So yeah, I think it's a critical piece to the puzzle. You're right. There are definitely challenges to it, but it's certainly going to grow, I think, honestly. And we've seen it time and time again every year, how What's really great, there's a lot of people who continue to come back to these events. It's not something that you go once and you think, okay, this was nice, and I'm gonna kind of step outside of the ecosystem. When you're in it, generally you stay in it for a long time, and I think physical events actually are a key to that kind of rolling relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the critical things, and there's nothing better than actually meeting in person. Like, you just form so many more bonds. Like, even with me and you, Pav, like more recently, I traveled down to you, and then obviously with Sammy as well. We got so much more done, spoke about, and being efficient with just even that. So you times that by the scale of obviously everyone having a good time at the same time, and everyone out of their comfort zone in terms of like traveling and going to these events. The networking potential is just like crazy, and I think that's what really needs to happen in the space. And the other thing is, a lot of it's happening outside of the actual events. It's actually in the sub events through all the different communities that are mixing together as well.
Yeah, definitely something we're going to have a look at. And it is a really interesting point. The fact that events are great from a social perspective, but it's when you meet someone IRL for the first or second time, and that's where business really starts to excel. Like being from a property background myself, I would never have done business with someone I met online. And it kind of
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We're building and forming relationships, and business is happening, but it's just further reinforced by IRL events. I think that's probably something that's really powerful about them, that's underlooked in terms of the business that happens as a result of meeting people for the first time, for the second time, or even consistently meeting them at events. Really, really powerful, harboring those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that, I'd like to go over to Ben. Obviously, the success of the very nice views above the palm of the Rug Radio event recently, that looked absolutely insane. I'm sure that worked out really well for you guys as well.
I don't think I've ever had
I wish I'd been there.
I know. I didn't want to. I didn't want to say, but
and Quinn will be able to answer in a bit. No, look, I mean, the guys came back, and despite the initial setback of the weather in Dubai, it was a hugely successful event. Not least because you start to get a feel for what's and I think this is the bit that's important, right? When we talk about the importance of Web3 events, we operate daily either like in our very close-knit groups, like the businesses we're working within, or our immediate community. And it's easy to get carried away and think that immediate community plus some of the big hitters out there, and that's kind of like, that's all of us. And what you don't understand is that there are heaps of silos just like that, and that these events are actually the opportunities to bring all of those different things together. And just when you think you've kind of got the entire space figured out, go to one of these events and immediately you're kind of like, oh shit, there's so much more going on than I even imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing that you see from, I think particularly from like the Rug Radio perspective as well, in terms of the amount of people that joined that as well, I think there's a lot of people like, there's judging right on spaces and things where these conversations happen of like following count and everything like that, and perceived to try and get on different stages and things. That's all gone when you're in real life, right? It's literally there with a person holding a conversation. I think often, most of the time with like these KOL influencers, people forget they're just people, and they're just here to have fun at the same time as well. And I think that's one of the big things that these events bring together as well, especially
completely
ones in Dubai.
I also think like it's really important to remember that we're building. Okay, how am I going to say this? we're not building the ability to talk in spaces. We're building things, and we're telling as many people as possible that are interested in spaces.
Yeah.
But actually, like, if you're building a real life product, or you're building a protocol that's going to support things that are happening, you need to get out there. You need to show people what you're building. You need to have them test it. You need to get feedback on it. And I don't know about you, but just like Pav was saying a moment ago, doing that like via cold calling, or connecting with people on LinkedIn, or unannounced DMs on whatever social platform it is, like that'll get you so far. But actually, when you're in a room, and this is another point that's super, super important, and then I'll shut up for a second. Like, I don't know. I have friends that I see from people I went to uni with, people I've worked with in kind of Web2 branding and marketing jobs, and people who are friends with family and all the rest of it. And every time I go into a room and they say, "Okay, Ben, try again. Explain what you do for a living." I'm like, "Oh God, this again." You go to a Web3 event and you're surrounded by people who you don't need to explain yourself to, and that is a really powerful. That is an amazing feeling when you work in and operate in this industry, and you feel like you need to justify your existence to the rest of the world, to go somewhere where everyone has permission to relax because everyone knows what everyone else is kind of up to. That's a good feeling, and that's another real positive when it comes to heading to these events.
It's a great point, actually. And I mean, I can liken it to us having our Rug Radio announcement today. I told my mum the other day, and she was like, "What? Like, what? I was like, Mum, this is really big. Like, this is a really cool thing. Like, this is great, right?" And she just didn't get it. And what I mean by that is, I completely understand going to these events and having relationships or creating relationships with people who believe in the technology to the extent that we do, right? We're here on the timeline, in the DMs, in conversations all day long. And then you step into your normal life, quote unquote, and you're not really having those conversations. So going to these events and seeing other people that are doing things, driving the conversation, the industry forward, it really creates that sense of like, oh, this is a tribe. And I've it's like quoted, found my tribe, but it's a group of people that believe in the same vision and are all there. Which is really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone on stage, by the way, wants to butt in with a take or anything, feel free to put the hand up. We'll go straight to like right away. But I wanted to touch on with Mila, obviously in the UK as well. We are so siloed, like we touched on earlier as well. Like, how has it been for you in the UK trying to bring what is like really as well, like with us in terms of trying to bring as many people as there are into the space and enjoy that like camaraderie in the event, all the while there's not that many of them to like get together. Like, how's that been and how's it going?
We've kind of done the heavy lifting. We've done the heavy lifting like years ago, and it was, maybe I can tell you what it was back then. It was basically going into, with the little lighter, going into a dark room and trying to find each corner, or trying to kind of get a sense of what kind of shape is that room and if there's any people in there. So it was that kind of experience that we were having, and it really just took a lot of hard work and just dedication and doing it continuously on a monthly basis. And first and foremost, we're basically a community, so the events come along with that. We do them out of necessity, just because everyone has just mentioned is 100% true. We wanted to create the kind of experience for people to meet IRL and build trust, and there's so many success stories now from that. And we didn't even know. We wanted to just really desperately meet because we were so stuck online, we were so bored, and we felt really isolated. It was still during COVID. That's 2021, right? And progressively, we basically decided to have a format and try and run with it. And so every month we decide to meet. And sometimes the events are a lot bigger than the smaller ones. So we kind of decided we're going to burn out if we run huge events every month. That's just insane. That's bonkers. And so there's a difference between having to cater for 2,000 people. And there's a difference when you kind of go a bit low effort and you just decide a place, you drop the pin and you say, just meet there. Let's just go and have drinks. We don't need any screens. We don't need to connect anything. We don't need anything. We just need to be us face to face. And that's what happens on Friday, guys. Like this Friday, we're having a meetup. So I forgot what was the question. So I just literally went
no, you
in a
completely
different dimension.
No,
but yeah, it's kind of something. With anything, you know it yourself, right? It's something that you need to put the time and the efforts, and as well, kind of don't trust everyone that is around you. Everybody has an opinion on how you should do things, but mostly just trust your feelings and gut feelings and get feedback. Like if you're building a product, you definitely need to come to these meetups and these events and talk about this product, because sitting behind your screen is just much harder to bring user base onto your product. And you have to use the kind of marketing trickery, like to just get as many people as possible on your platform, when you can go to these events that are really grassroots, down to earth, and you kind of go there with your value proposition and you have a clear mindset of what you would like to get out of it. But the first thing I always tell people, please don't overshill, please don't
Yes.
overhype, don't overshill, because at this point we're all a little bit more savvy. We kind of we smell when there's something not right, and we kind of start backing off. So just be genuine. Just come to places and connect. That's all. And then you can deal with it online.
Absolutely. And for anyone who is in the UK and in London, do you want to give them just the event details tomorrow, the time where you're running from tomorrow?
Was it tomorrow? Sorry, it's
Friday.
It's
Sorry.
Friday.
Yeah.
What day
ignore
is
me.
it?
On Friday.
I'm like in panic mode. Yeah, so Friday we've discovered the headquarters of Brewdog in Waterloo, which is huge, and it has a slide. So when you get drunk, you can go. Yes, you guys come along. So we're going to meet there from 6:30, and yeah, that's it. Basically, there's no program. It would be I like reserved an area, but honestly, if you've been to the events, people don't really stay inside. They're outside. They're outside smoking and talking.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, on that, there's going to be a lot more events with Brewdog coming up with DGen Distillery.
Awesome.
Almost a perfect segue there.
Yeah, I was literally
before you jump on the next. Yeah, so we went there. We had the really cool. We actually co-work there sometimes because it's a big space.
Nice.
And when I went to order a beer, and basically they asked what we do, and we were like NFT UK, Web3. The guys knew it, and so it was so cool to like just go in a random place, and you don't have to explain what you do, like you guys said before,
Yeah,
right?
I love that.
So it was really good. Yeah.
All
anyway,
right.
I shut up.
Nice. No, perfect. This Friday, got it wrong the first time, but this Friday NFT UK event in Brewdog Waterloo. Love it.
Yeah, definitely. It was the perfect segue. I wanted to head over to Sammy, providing his internet is good. But just before we do that, the conversation that I wanted to have was a slightly different one, just changing direction, but still keeping on topic, in the sense that we've discussed Web3 events from a community perspective. But as a founder, Sammy and Franklin, they're putting on their own events. And this is one of the things that I really wanted to have a look at and really, really sort of bust wide open, because there are mixed review with conferences, right? You do see a lot of stuff happening outside of the conference, and you see the satellite events, and they're the ones that generally are a lot more hyped. Sammy, what was your thinking in terms of, with an events background, would you be considering as a founder going to a conference, or just creating your own event outright and being able to do whatever the fuck you want?
Yeah, so I'm coming in for the DGen Distillery account now because I think my phone is a bit shoddy on the Wi-Fi. But listen, it's a very good point you make, and I think there's a huge gap here, right? And when we talk about Web3 events, we talk about conferences a lot of the time. And what are conferences specifically designed for? Well, they're really designed for like business to business type, team to team, executive to executive, marketer to marketer type networking events. Now, that's cool, and that definitely has a place within the ecosystem, and I take nothing away from it. But I think our strategy is a little bit different. Like we have two products. One is a mass market retail product, which we're looking to sell to the world, and one is a technology. So our strategy is to partner with tier one events globally across the UK, sporting events, music events, whatever, and activate community in a different way, alongside a traditional Web2 audience, to which we can onboard into Web3 at the same time by essentially using DGen Distillery as like a top of funnel marketing campaign for Web3 overall. So yeah, I mean, would I go to conferences? Funny enough, I've actually never been to a Web3 conference yet. But would I go? Yeah, of course I would go. But I've spent a lot of time running conferences and events and festivals and clubs already. So it's not like top of my personal to-do list. Obviously, it's great networking, but I think the real gap here when we talk about Web3 events is how do we make Web3 events accessible to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have no idea what a MetaMask wallet is.
Yeah, and there's that piece again on like the kind of mass adoption piece, right? Like the conferences for business to business are fantastic, but then when we do look at community and the people actually here active, you know, onboarding to the technology, which we all obviously believe in and spend every single day transacting with, there got to be a path to that as well. And is it going to be through, you know, a conference that they don't know anyone there and they might not gain anything through? Or is it through these sub events that are like parties and the tight knit, the smaller community like events that really work? I think that's the way forward.
Yeah, listen, I take nothing away from conferences. I think they have a huge part to play in the ecosystem, but it's just like each business has their own strategy, right? And each business has their own target demographic. Like our target demographic that will eventually go to the shelves of Walmart and Tesco's and Asda's and Carrefour in Europe and whatever to buy our product are not going to discover our product through a Web3 conference. They're going to discover our product through a festival, a music event, a sporting event, a whatever. And then by purchasing that physical product, we give them a gateway into Web3 and then bring them into Web3 in just a different format. We're not going to find anybody who's Web3 slightly curious. I mean, let's be honest, probably aren't going to go to Token 2049. They're probably not going to go to NFT Paris. It's only going to be a small subsection. It's going to be people who have already played around, already downloaded a MetaMask wallet, already bought some Bitcoin, bought some ETH. That probably is the demographic. We're looking at a slightly different demographic ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to get the input from Diego and Jordan as well on this. Obviously, you as team members, a part of DGen Distillery, and obviously being introduced to the brand and our vision and what we're bringing forward now, and then have your guys' perspective on it as well. I'd love to get your guys' take on that as well.
Pink Beanie's first, mate. Go for it.
You pink beanie. Diego, over to you.
Let's go. I want to answer that like twofold, right? So one is related to the topic, and the second one is sort of like my perspective into events, because a lot of what I do is from a speaker perspective, right? So we've seen like the community and the organizer, but I can shine some light on the speaker side of it. So the first fold of, you know, and that's just kind of like my raw and honest take on why I'm so stoked for the partnership, is that if you look at the way that brands have been built, and you know, I worked for Adidas before. I was there for 4 years. I've been working with like large organizations my whole life. You know, within Web3, within these last 3 years, I'm just starting Tree now, which is so fucking dope. You know, in the space, Web3 specific. I've been in blockchain since 17, but you know, like Web3 full-time specific. I've worked with like, you know, the Volkswagen Group, Porsche, Cupra, Skoda, Shell, and all those large brands, you know, like L'Oreal, Prada, MasterCard, Salesforce. I've worked with all of them, right? I spent the last 3 years literally being that guy in the room that's trying to explain to those mega giga brands what is the opportunity for them and why it makes sense, right? So one of the core things for me when you look to that is that all those brands were built in a centralized manner, right? And not talking about the technology, but the power of it, right? Someone sits in the room, a bunch of agencies get together and tell how that product's going to be, how the master's going to be, how they want people to feel. And then they shape products and they shape everything around it based on what they think people will want, right? And the room for collaboration, the room for feedback, the room for like customers actually coming closer to the brand has been always zero. Right? The only way for you to like support or take down on a brand is with your wallet, right? Either you buy the actual product or you don't. So one of the things that I got really excited about Web3, especially in the early days of Adidas when we did what we done with Into the Metaverse, was that idea of like the co-creation element of bringing people together and helping them shaping what that brand should be in the future, right? And now if you zoom in into what you know, you guys have been doing, and now I'm extremely grateful to be part of the journey, is within this industry, which we are about to you know, really start to you know, pushing some elbows around and looking to disrupting it. that industry pays, sort of like sentiment back to heritage, it's the old stuff. You think about whiskey, you think about a fucking cowboy sitting in a bar and talking about how dope it is that this thing is brewed here since like 1700, right? Who gives a fuck? And if you think about every other, sort of like, brand within that industry, everybody does the same play, right?
Yeah.
Everything's the same. So I'm looking to myself and I'm looking to the upcoming generations and everything around that. And what I'm thinking is like, people don't care about the past, they care about the future. That's why we're here. We care about the future of the internet. We care about the future of immersive experience. We care about the future of how we can shape this thing together. How can we take part on that? And without getting too emotional and pitching too much and sounding like a shiller, I think that's what is so dope about what you guys have been doing. And when Sammy called and Jordan hooked me up, and we were like, guys, like this makes so much sense because it's deep down to my principles. So that's what I'm excited about this. Now going back and wrapping my rant on that more to the event side of things. I'm a speaker, right? So I'm a public speaker. I've spoken, in the largest stages in Europe, that being Web3 native or Web2. I spent the last 3 years, preaching for the mainstream. That's why my following on Twitter is not that large, but my main content is created on LinkedIn. That's where I'm at, and a lot of people like roll their eyes when I say it. But if we talk about mainstream adoption, if we talk about Web2, if we talk about getting everybody to understand what we are actually doing here, that's where business are, right? So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. So through that, I got to speak in a lot of different conferences and a lot of different space to the Web2 audience. But the main core thing for me that was a takeaway, and why I also have slowed down, especially this year, is that especially Web3 conferences are broken. It's broken. It's dead. And I tell you why. The model is very simple. They throw an event, and I'm talking from a speaker's perspective, right? Because that's the angle I think I can add the most value to this conversation. They want you to speak at the event, and I personally have nothing to sell. I'm not a founder of a company. I'm not a founder of a protocol. I'm not like, shilling coins or anything. I have nothing to sell. People pay me to listen what I have to say, right? So it's about like the way I think and how I can convey a message. So all those companies hit me up to speak. I get like invited all the time, but nobody wants to pay for anything. And I don't have anything to show. So it becomes like that equation on which people don't want to pay you to talk, and I don't have anything to show.
Yeah.
So how do we create a balance on the commercial element for my time and my knowledge? The issue is that whoever is taking on to go and talk on this conference usually have something to sell, whether they're a founder of a company or whether they're a founder of a protocol, they all work for a certain company. So when you go there as a listener, which is the exercise I do because my role is to talk to them, if you're not native in the space, you're literally just listening to a shoe show, right? It's people coming to the stage and talking about how great their company is, how great their product is, how great their protocol is, how great whatever it is. But it becomes like a sponsor show and a shoe show on stage.
Yeah.
And that's why it's broken, and that's my biggest challenge with it.
Yeah, honestly, great points and great perspective as well, obviously on your journey and how you've seen these events. And obviously you guys are in Lisbon as well. Jordan, you are as well. I'd love to get your take, Jordan, on like the immersive side of events as well. You've got massive experience on immersive and how that's growing as well within the space, and NFTs and crypto and all of that good stuff that's like growing as well through Journey, who you're working with closely. I'd love to get your perspective on the actual like immersive events and like how's that gonna shape and like involve Web3 events as we go forward as well.
Yeah, I love everything that's been said and by Diego. And one word that he's said that resonates, I think, with everybody on this space is the future. And I'm not shilling. This is all part of what we're doing at DGen Distillery. But at Journey, we've done over 100 immersive experiences. And similar to Diego, I've spent a decade working with big brands, from Siemens to Clinique to Macy's to H&M to Adidas to NARS. The list goes on. Deloitte, KPMG, EY. And I'm coming at this from a very Web2 perspective, but I'm actually a DGen from Web3. So it's the marrying of this mainstream audience. And what we did at Journey was quite smart, which is also what Sammy's been alluding to, which is what we're changing the messaging at DGen Distillery to be about, is why does the normal person care about this? They might not have a wallet, it might be your parents, it might be a dog. Why do they care about DGen Distillery? Why do they care about Web3? Why do they care about the future? It's really about the WIFM, I call it the what's in it for me. And as soon as we put that hat on, hopefully it's a pink hat, we start to understand people want to have fun. They want to connect. there's an innate human need for us to hang out in real life, hang out in Twitter spaces, be part of the community. And what I love about Degen Distillery specifically is that it's all these kind of misfits and mavericks and weirdos that don't belong. Like we maybe struggled at school, or maybe we didn't kind of fit into certain social groups or social norms, or we were immigrants, or we were culturally different, or we had different other, diversity, equity, inclusion kind of lenses where we never felt like we belonged. And all of a sudden, with Web2 and Web3 events, we're there with people who we resonate with, who we connect with, who actually want to hang out with. Maybe we've got, for example, a passion for music. I run a music record label here in Lisbon, just through 2 sold out events over the weekend. Everyone's vibing. No one's on their phone. Everyone's dancing and laughing and hugging and, smoking and drinking and doing all sorts of naughty stuff. But they're doing it because they feel a sense of comfort and a sense of belonging. And so all the stuff that Sammy, Franklin and Diego and I and the team are working on is really based on lifestyle, and it's based on connection. And how do we drive that feeling, not just through a Web3 tech angle, which, look, is super important, right? I'm a blockchainer since 2017, like Diego. I speak at conferences around the world, just spoke at CES in Las Vegas, shilling stuff, unfortunately, because that's how I pay the bills. But really, my ultimate goal with accepting the agreement to join, Sammy and the team with Diego, is to build this grassroots, bottom-up sense of community belonging. And it might sound all lovey-dovey and la-da-da, but at the end of the day, human psychology, mental health, we're in an age of disconnection, right?
Yeah.
Our phones are driving depression, they're driving disconnection, they're driving comparison. And similar to Diego, I've got a very small Twitter audience. I actually only reopened my Twitter in April this month to join this space. But I'm very, very active on LinkedIn and on Instagram, where I actually have a social media manager who can't touch it. But guess what? I've done so much business through LinkedIn, so much business through Instagram. So I think it's joining all these dots that we all kind of cover in our own domains and coming together and just listening. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like, I'm working with some really, really amazing, smart people that all have great capability. But it's about joining those together, running great events IRL and online, and also having an awesome product and tech behind it. And then creating a lifestyle brand where people belong, people feel connected, and they want to hang out, be it online or IRL.
Love it. Honestly, yeah, great insight. Pav, I don't know whether we want to do reset the room real quick and get on to a bit of a next topic. I'd love to hear Open's, like, how they're going to build out and link to all of this that we've just spoke about as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've obviously discussed the importance of IRL events, what's not working as well, in terms of, like Diego said, what's broken with events. And I think many people see it, whether you're experiencing it as a founder, as a speaker, or attending it. But yeah, let's figure out how the ticketing aspect of this is done on such a large scale. So let's reset the room and then we'll head straight over to Colby. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to our first Super Space. We are Minted. Follow us to stay connected. We've got some amazing guests on the show today, so you know what to do. Drop us a like, share the room, comment to get involved with the conversation. We're giving away $500 today live on the space, so head to the pinned tweet to find out more. Let's get back to the conversation. Let's get it. So Colby, I wanted to take the conversation in the direction of ticketing. We've assessed and understood events and what works and what doesn't. What's your take from a ticketing perspective? How is the ticketing a really important integral part of these events?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think really just listening to all of the different discussions that have been had so far, it feels to me like, the key part of event ticketing is to make it as easy and as straightforward as possible, right? Like, I think the least liked part of attending an event is actually buying a ticket. And that provides both pros and cons, actually, right? The pro is the fact that you can really focus on the event experience. People want to connect, people want to be there in real life and actually see their favorite artists, meet all of their friends. So you can do a lot with the ticket actually hidden in the background and make it work in your favor, we've counted like 170 different NFT ticketing related companies over the years. Many have come and gone. And I think the problem is, like, it's either you're too sort of tech purist, right? And you really want people to love this tech and understand how it works. But ultimately, you add way more friction into an industry that's already just like, you want to smash your head against the keyboard, really, right? Like whether you're waiting in a queue for a ticket or you don't quite know how many have been sold on the primary or secondary. So for us, like the goal was always just make it as simple as and easy as possible. Buy your tickets with just normal currency, have the best checkout flow, be able to connect with artists and organizers. So like for us, the unique thing is here is the onboarding part is actually easy, like with a ticket, right? Like you can give everyone a wallet, you can give everyone an NFT, like whether it's your grandma or your really tech focused brother or whoever it is. So that's not really the problem. For us, it's really the question of, okay, at what point in the event life cycle do you teach people about these benefits? Do you give them access to all of these cool things that we know this space can offer? And how do you really translate that into something that attendees can understand, something that the artists and organizers wrap their head around, and even in the most extreme cases, the ticketeer, who's typically thinking 10 years behind like the status quo, right? And for us, what we've really always found just really the most beneficial time, or like the right moment, is after the event. It's like the day after the event, because I don't know about you, right? But you go to your favorite event, you're riding on a high. You want to do anything you can to actually connect with the organizer or the artist that you've just seen. You're frantically searching for tickets to a new show. You're DMing people that you met up at the event. Like that's the perfect time to kind of teach people about these benefits. So that can be anything from actually revealing a collectible tied to a ticket, whether it's a cool generative piece or maybe it's a video of an artist playing from the event with new music, whether it's, access into an early bird or an early wait list for future ticket sales. That's kind of the moment. So we really spent just basically years building the fundamentals of actually putting wallets and, on-chain tickets into people's hands. And we're now at that point where that's done. It's as easy as, being able to service an 18,000 person attendee stadium concert. So yeah, we're in quite a fun point really with Open in being able to actually provide all of these benefits, but now communicate that and make people understand how they can use this and why artists and organizers should actually care about this tool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like an amazing point as well. And like, what have you seen in terms of, obviously you guys are breaking out now into like all kinds of events and artists, right? But in terms of the NFT events that you've done, like NFT, I think you did NFT Paris and NYC, right? You ticketed those events.
Yeah, we did. So we didn't do NYC. We did NFT Paris, Met Amsterdam, and a couple of others. Yeah.
How was that like onboarding? Was that like the most frictionless in terms of people from Web3 already get it in the process compared to like someone that might not? Was there a like discrepancy there and you've adapted things, or is it kind of pretty straightforward?
Yeah, so I mean, to be truthful with you, I think I mentioned this to Pav the other week, actually, like with Web3 events, we may actually not communicate enough or hide things a bit too much, right? Because with Web3 events, everyone's already savvy, everyone understands this, and really it's like, second language. So we've really built for the Web2 events in mind, and of course want to actually service Web3 events, because why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you have an on-chain ticket, have this NFT connect with people? So yeah, it was certainly an interesting moment for us when we did NFT Paris, and then I bumped into Pav actually, and Pav was like, "Oh, the system's really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, but you do know there's like an actual NFT ticket behind this?" And he didn't actually realize at that moment in time. So that was a good learning moment for us. Okay, we need to
That's not like Pav, mate, to not understand the tech he's running. That doesn't sound like Pav at all.
Very much, Franklin.
Yeah. Oh no, but it was honestly it was a great moment and an eye opener for us, like in terms of how we can help facilitate Web3 events in a way that you are aware of the technology as well. So that was it was a good learning moment for us. We brought like a lot of the collectible functionality into the forefront. So you scan your ticket, you can see your collectibles, etc. But yeah. No, really, it's all about accessibility. To be honest, it's all about making it as easy as possible, and it's a good problem to have, really, right? When you can actually onboard people and then they may not realize it, but then the nice thing is you can always communicate it down the line. That's actually one of the things we stress, to be honest, to organizers, whether they're Web3 or Web2. Just get people using this, get wallets in their hands, get on-chain tickets into their hands, and then down the line you can always connect with people. I think Med Amsterdam was a great example of this, right? Where they even offered a campaign where if you went to NFT Paris or a previous Med Amsterdam event, you got a discount on your ticket for the 2023 event, which I think was just amazing. Like that we're really seeing this cross marketing opportunity for events because of on-chain ticketing. So yeah,
it's a really great point, and I think, I mean, Sammy was sort of touching upon it as well. Is, you know, who is going to these events? It's all well and good discussing events as they are now, but the reason why we're here is because we want that piece about mass adoption and how many people are going to be coming into the space. You know, onboarding them into the space seamlessly through a ticket just makes so much sense. It really is, and even the actual events, like as Sammy was saying, in terms of, you know, who's going to be at what events. Have you thought, or have you seen much much of a mix between Web2 people coming to Web3 events or Web3 people going to Web2 events? Is it the ticket that's the only thing that's that bridge between them?
good question. Yeah, absolutely. Every single Web3 event that we've helped organizers facilitate has been a complete mix. If I looked at the demographic of a lot of these events, you've got some people in their 70s or 80s even that have bought tickets and are attending. You have students on the other end of the spectrum. You have even businesses. I think with NFT Paris 2 years ago, the amount of businesses that had booked 20 plus tickets to just educate people about this space. It's a complete mix, and that's, I think it brings pros and cons, right? I really wanted to touch upon this actually, just in terms of like, how do you create a conference or an event that can deep dive into it? Like for us, right? We really want to get deep into the weeds, discover new things, runes, whatever it may be, but then also be able to facilitate your first timer who's just walking through the doors and thinking, what the hell have I got myself into, right? And I think it's a unique and challenging perspective from an event organizer in this space to, yeah, be able to do both, be able to have the deep dives and the workshops, but also have those intro pieces, because ultimately, like, okay, yes, over time, you're absolutely going to have people who just sort of come into this space without even knowing it, right? Whether it is a ticket or whether it's a drink with DJ and Distillery. But you are going to people who generally have a passion for this. You know, they create art, or they, they're just really interested in the ethos. So yeah, it's really critical, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a really great point. I wanted to chime in, Ben here. Obviously, Rug Radio are putting on some of the biggest events in the space. Obviously, we saw they had a massive event in Dubai. They've had the Rug House. What is Rug Radio's plan in terms of growth and events and more people coming to the space? Are you focusing primarily on Web3 people native who are already in the space, or, you know, bringing more people into the space and giving exposure for people who aren't necessarily as familiar as we are with it?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. We've got like a few things to tick off when we are pulling this together, but you know, like primarily we have a really cool opportunity as Rug Radio, and now with our merger with Decrypt, in terms of being able to write the news and then being able to give views on the news from a network of amazing creators. We have this great opportunity to introduce brands to the Web3 experience, to introduce a Web3 audience to a new brand, and to onboard and educate as we go. I think one of the things that's super important to know from Rug Radio's point of view, and one of the things that I think Farouk and Loxley, CEO, are most proud of, is that in order to attend a Rug Radio event, you need to only own a single Faces of Web3 PFP, as an example. It's probably, I think that's like the cheapest entry to the ecosystem. And that then gives you access to come to, and if I give you an example, Miami, our house, you know, you could have attended that event, you could have met with the entire team, and I think everyone in the entire team would also have gladly, if you'd have said to them, hey, like, I don't know, I host a podcast, or I'm interested in, I'm building something, and I would, you know, I think that's Eric Calderon over there. I think that's Snowfro. Would you mind introducing me and just like, you know, letting me like quiz him and ask a question? No doubt about it. And so for the $50 that it costs to own one of those things. I appreciate you need to also have the airfare and maybe some accommodation wherever we happen to be at that time. But you truly do have the opportunity through the network that we're building at Rug Radio as a media, as one of the biggest media companies in the entire space, to use that token and leverage the network. And I think one of the things that's really, really important to us as a growing business from a 2021, 2022 project is to remember that a whole load of people that have been supporting us along the way, that they really, really want to be able to be a part of the essence of what we are. And in many instances, that's kind of like leveraging the network that we're building. So yeah, absolutely. Bringing new people in, bringing in brands and introducing them to an existing audience, but also like just being mindful of the community of people that have supported us along the way and giving them access to cool shit as we go.
Yeah, I think you touched on a really good point there as well, which is something else we were going to come on to. We're going to run this space. We're going to run for an hour, like till 7 o'clock, but we probably run over a little bit. We got the giveaway to do it at the end as well. So if you haven't already, head to the pinned tweets. It is there. We got $500 to give away during this space. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully getting a lot of value from this quite amazing, impressive stage at the moment. But for anyone that's like, you touched on the travel and the airfare and, the kind of hotels and getting set up in all these different locations around the world that might not be convenient for everybody. How does everyone see like the global spread of like these events in the future? Like obviously right now we're in major cities around the world with the conferences and they're kind of popping up. Like, what do you say to someone that's like maybe questioning, like, is the airfare worth it? Is that time out of my schedule worth it? And yeah, how do people like quantify that? And I'll throw that to the room as well. Anyone that's got a kind of any experience or any input on that. But Ben, you might as well jump in there as well on that point.
Go again, dude. The question. Sorry, I missed that.
What do you say to someone who's like kind of, in their mind might not be as connected and close to the events, but quantifying like, is the travel worth it? Is it going to be worth it for me to travel and take that scheduled time?
This is really good. And Pav mentioned it at the beginning. And actually, that NFT London that Pav went to, I went to it as well, and it got real like criticism. And let's be honest,
I remember it. We discussed that on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the Queen Elizabeth Centre in Westminster, and
I have a lot to say about that, but later.
And it was a bit like it was a bit shit. Let me be honest about something. I went there with a target. Like I knew a group of people that were going to be there that I wanted to speak to. I knew why I wanted to speak to them. I knew what I had to offer them. And I knew for a moment I was going to be in a room and be able to do that. And I did it. And I met with 3 people who I wanted to pitch. I got to pitch 2 of them. One of them gave me a job. And so like, I just think these things are super valuable if you go with intention. If you just go to kind of like hang around and, believe me, you'll end up in a donut store in NYC with Pablo Stanley and the Robotos team like I did. And you'll get to the end of the night and you'll be like, well, that isn't, like Pablo's a fucking great guy. What an amazing artist and fun, cool guy. But like, I didn't really pull any value with that other than the fact that I got to hang out with some people and eat some nice donuts and drink some coffee. Like, but so it depends. Like if you go with intention to meet people and do your research before you turn up at one of these events and know who is going to be where and and try if you can to kind of like know what they look like and maybe DM them in advance and be like, hey, I'm going to be at this thing too, could we grab a coffee for 5 minutes? If you go with that mindset because you've got work to do, you can kill it. If also on the flip of that, if you go because you want to go and have a good time
and meet your friends, like, your internet friends.
Meet your friends. Do that. Like, but it's intention. It's all about like, why are you going, and you should be really clear about that right at the beginning.
It's a really great point. I've always thought, and I always personally myself, you have to be a shark when you go to these events. You have to be really clear on what the objective is. And myself, And a few of the people on this stage are a result of the relationships that I made in Paris. You know, we just started our Wake Up Web3 Our Morning Space, and I knew we needed more guests. We needed bigger and better guests to provide more value to our listeners. And it's how I met Diego, it's how I met Colby, it's how I actually met Farouk that time. You know, so you really have to go. If you go with the intention, then it's great. One of the things I love about it, and to answer your question, Franklin, is the rate at which these are popping up in different countries is making it so much easier. You know, if you're not, if you don't necessarily, or you're not able to fly to Dubai, you can do Paris. And if you're not able to do Paris, you can do Berlin. And if, you know, if you're on that side of the world, you know, there's so much stuff happening that you can just go to your local one first. And then if you do what Ben's saying and you have that intentionality and you get the results, that will then in turn, you know, give you the motivation or the value or the incentive to then go to the larger one. So definitely some great points. I did want to go over to Sammy just before, so I'll go over to Jordan, but I wanted to come over to Sammy after as well, just to guide this conversation in a little bit of a different direction. But Jordan, over to you, then Sammy, I'll be coming straight for you, buddy.
I mean, you mentioned intentionality, and you mentioned, you know, doing your homework and turning up at these events. I couldn't agree more. What we're seeing on the flip side, though, is a massive rise in immersive experiences. So we're seeing not only huge Web2 brands continuing to release these incredible virtual worlds where fans and consumers and community can connect, they can chat, they can shop, they can play games, they can hang out. And we're talking AAA gaming quality stuff here, not, you know, pixels and some of the stuff we've seen in the past. So I think, you know, it is okay to attend an event where, for example, we did an activation for BMW where Coldplay did a concert, right? People wanted to just go and listen to Coldplay and learn about BMW. They didn't really have too much intentionality. So you can keep your eyes on this space for DJ and Distillery. We're going to be doing a lot of similar things in the immersive space. And I think, you know, from a Web3 to Web2 and vice versa bridging perspective, that immersive experience piece cuts out travel costs. It cuts out the, you know, potentially social anxiety that some people may have, or the inability to do their homework, or, you know, show up and get into a busy schedule. So I think hanging out on spaces like this is obviously a great step, but getting even deeper into the connectivity that we can have through immersive experiences is something that we're really passionate about, and you're going to see a lot more from us. But Sammy, I'll hand over to you.
It really does. Just before we do that, it really does break down the barriers. You know, these events may have a higher barrier to entry in terms of what it costs to actually get there and stay there for the week, and obviously living there. I mean, I saw some people sharing Uber rides in New York, and it wasn't pretty. You know, like you're going to be spending a lot when you get there. You know, having them in virtual reality, yet to experience and obviously validate for myself, but I can see the value that would have in terms of giving access to everyone around the planet to really meet those people. Would you still harbor the same level of connections? I'm not sure, and I am skeptical, but look, I'm definitely up for trying it, and I think it's a great way to build that bridge for people who can't get to these events, for those of us who know how powerful they are. But yeah, Sammy, I wanted to ask you. I know we're sort of coming up on time. If any of the speakers do need to drop, just drop us a message and let us know. But what is it that what does it take to make a good event? You know, it's all very well and good us saying, oh, this is what we want, this is what we need. But from the perspective of actually putting on an event, and now you're thinking about B2B, you're thinking about making it fun for people to come and have a good experience. You're thinking about having powerful people to be there for them to network. What does it actually take to put on a good event?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really open question, because you sort of just touched upon it there, right? Like, what is the event? Is it a B2B networking type conference event? Is it a B2C or full sort of C, just music led event? Is it a brand activation? Is it XYZ? So I think it's really tough, but without oversimplifying it, and I think this is what a lot of people miss, is its experience, right? It's memories. It's can you create something that is going to be memorable for a year, 2 years, 5 years, that people can look back on and say, hey, I tried this for the first time, or I met this person, or I listened to this exotic music and an amazing new release. So I think it's really tough, because an event is an all-encapsulating term where there are so many subsections and umbrellas to unpack underneath that. But yeah, if you want to simplify it down to the lowest common denominator, it's experience, and I think that's true. I think that's true across immersive, in real life, conference, music, just meeting your friends, face to face in a pub, whatever it is. So yeah, experience.
Yeah, I'd love to flip that on you a little bit, Sammy, because I know there's an event coming up. Obviously, I think this is the first time probably you publicly speaking about it since the announcements went out from Degen Distillery, and obviously Goodwood is coming up. I don't know if you want to give a TLDR what's going to be going on at that event, and what's to expect and the whole thesis behind it. Like, what was the thinking? Why Goodwood, and obviously a little bit of a background on that event and what's trying to be done there to incorporate community and stuff.
Yeah, so on a business level, right, a lot of people in Web3 run events to activate community. We also want to do that. We want to engage the community, get the community to meet each other, but there are multiple different strands to what we're looking to do. One of those strands is also is obviously sort of top of the funnel marketing for the physical product, which is 721 vodka, which will be launching at Goodwood. The beauty of us running events in partnership with tier 1 events and tier 1 brands is we're not just running events as a sort of marketing expense. We get to make some money out of it, which is just an ideal scenario for us. But in terms of Goodwood and the placement of Goodwood with Degens,
yes.
What do Degens like to do? They like to
gamble.
Yeah, they like to gamble, get fucked up, and have some fun. So with Goodwood, for anybody who doesn't know what Goodwood is, for anybody outside of the UK, Goodwood is one of the most sort of globally prestigious horse racing events in the world. It's actually owned by royalty. It's owned by the Duke of Richmond. So it is really, as Diego sort of mentioned, it is pretty heritage focused, but they're looking to bring a lot of Web3 aspects into their entire estate, which includes a shitload of things, which I won't go into because I know we're over time. But the idea was it was just a perfect brand synergy for us in terms of allowing a Degen community to engage, to meet, to get to sort of coalesce around a physical product launch and also have some fun gambling on horses rather than meme coins, and then in the evening moving into a festival music type vibe. So there's headliners like Craig David, Gokwan, Dimitri from Paris, etc. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, even just on the artist front as well, the exposure to a brand. And again, we touched on it earlier in terms of, I think it was Ben that touched on it in terms of bringing the product to the forefront and then that being the onboarding without it even being known to be the onboarding. It's, the vodka is, Web3 enabled, native, born here, right? And it's going to be across that event all summer. It's going to be the owner vodka literally on the site. So it's a huge thing. 14,000 people attend this. There's 3 weekends on the 17th, the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st of June in the summer. Praying for good weather. And again, unlocked by our NFTs and the community and how that's all done. So it ties in super nicely.
Can I just jump in there?
Go for it.
I don't know whether I sort of explained it to a high enough level on the strategy side as well. Now, there are 40,000 people that go to those 3 Friday nights. There are also 1.5 million people that go to all Goodwood events over a year. We are the exclusive vodka provider for all of that. Now, that allows people to interact and touch a Web3 product as a physical product before they've ever even thought about diving down the rabbit hole of what a MetaMask is, what a Bitcoin is, what Ethereum is, what Solana is, what a meme coin is, etc. So that allows us much bigger sort of amplification in terms of that top of funnel marketing, which I've mentioned multiple times. So having 1.5 million people interact with the brand this year and being able to get eyes on the brand and being able to discover blockchain and Web3 and our ethos and our brand a bit further is just the perfect strategy. Now, Goodwood is just a drop in the ocean in terms of what we're planning and what we're looking to activate with other events across the UK and other events globally, as well as the immersive stuff with Jordan Journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah,
can you hear me? Yeah. All right, cool. I didn't know whether I'd pressed the wrong button there and muted myself. Yeah, I mean, it's been a really good exploration of events this evening, and the knowledge from the people on stage has been incredible. Jordan, you've had your hand up for a little bit. I'll throw it back to you.
No, good man. I'm good.
Oh, all right. I think it might be on my side. Just the hand was up. No worries. Yeah, Pav. I mean,
Hey
we're running.
guys,
Yeah, and
may
Mila,
I?
jump in.
Sorry, I'm jumping in because I'm jumping out.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I have to leave. I have a call in a minute, but I wanted to really thank you for having me, and this was fun.
No, it's great to have you.
Glad
Great
to
to
see
hear
that.
from you again after quite a long time. And yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing you in London at one of those events pretty soon as well, because I'll be moving down south. So it'll be
100%.
really good to connect. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye now. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Yeah, to wrap up, Pav, I don't know what we want to wrap up with, but we've got the giveaway as well. Don't know which way you want.
Definitely. I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. Obviously, we got conversation got a bit carried away there. We were supposed to finish at 7, but we did run a little bit over. I just wanted to say a massive shout out to all the guests. I think it is really interesting. It's a great conversation about Web3 events, what it is that we're looking for. I mean, if you're attending the event, it's clear you need to have an intention. If you're hosting the event, it's clear you need to be decisive on what it is and who you're trying to attract to that event to obviously maximize what people feel, experience when they come. And I think it's been great having both sides of the coin there, really. Franklin, let's head on to our giveaway. We've got a $500 giveaway. This is your last opportunity within the next couple of seconds to head to the pinned post. I'm going to play this. We're going to do the giveaway, and we're going to wrap up. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to our first Super Space. We are Minted. Follow us to stay connected. We've got some amazing guests on the show today, so you know what to do. Drop us a like, share the room, comment to get involved with the conversation. We're giving away $500 today live on the space, so head to the pinned tweet to find out more. Let's get back to the conversation. Let's run it, Franklin. We have got $200 in open, one for the first winner, for the second winner $100 in open, for the third winner $100 in drink token, and for the fourth winner $100 in Solana. So let's get that Twitter picker ready and let's run it.
Oh, a little intro there. You will not believe this. You will not believe this. I've done the draw. Okay? The $100 in Solana goes to 0x Franklin.
Oh, what a rug.
All right, let me
zero.
literally, man. How do I redraw this thing? Anyway, let me do the other one first because that has actually drawn. Okay, so on the first one with $200 in what was it in open? Yeah, we got Odin, which is Crypto Look 35. In second place with $100 in open would be Eddie, so NFT Eddie. And then with $100 in drink token, which is supplied by DJ Distillery, that's going to be launching TGE very soon. So those will be airdropped after that, obviously. But it's M Johnson 870. So yeah, congratulations to those three. And it looks like just I've won this one, but let's redraw it again.
Yeah, definitely redraw that again. While we do that, I just wanted to give everyone an introduction into who we are. My name is Pav. My co-host today is Franklin, and we are Minted. We run a morning show on weekdays from 9 a.m. 9 a.m. BST. Sorry, I really bodged it up. 9 a.m. BST, bringing you news, topics, headlines, guests, and projects from the space. People who are really doing really well, killing it in space, and just some really cool conversations. So if you're not already doing that, follow us in the top left-hand corner. Turn your notifications on. We're going to be doing a bunch of giveaways. Today is $500. We're going to be doing giveaways every single Super Space, pretty much fortnightly, and we give breakfast away in the mornings as well. So, Franklin, if you mentioned that last winner, if you mentioned that last winner, I'm going to pin tomorrow's space to the top for everyone to join us.
Absolutely. We got the last one. It's Professor Crypto. So, Profs Crypto. You get $100 in Solana. So, yeah, congratulations to the 4 lucky winners tonight. And obviously, shout out to the sponsors that have supplied that as well. Open, our regular sponsor on the show, providing the $300 in open tokens. And obviously, DJ Distillery with $100 in drink. And then Solana from me and Pav on the original tweet. So, yeah, congratulations to those people. And it's been a great show. Honestly, I don't know if any of the guests want to close out with anything, but we'll be about ready to rug it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to everyone who joined. I've pinned to the top our show tomorrow morning. Definitely tune in and get a taste of what it's like on Minted Mornings with that UK British banter, myself and Franklin. Massive shout out to Sammy, Ben, Colby, Jordan, Mila who dropped, and everyone else who joined, and everyone who listened as well. We really appreciate you guys for taking time out of your evening to listen to this really, really cool conversation. Like I said, a lot more to come. So have an amazing rest of your day. Franklin, let's rug it.
All right. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.
Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.